Hey, this is Grant Ringenberg once again coming to you today to talk to you about Full Metal Alchemist episode 14. Okay, so I really like this episode, and one of the reasons I really like this episode is it reminded me of something that anime seems to function there. The shows seem to be split into fourths. And what I mean by that is no matter what an anime I've come across, if it's been at least 50 episodes or so, it tends to add a new dimension to it around the 13 episode mark, which is true in this case because they introduce a couple of main characters. They introduce Alex Louise Armstrong, Dr. Marco. They get more involved with introducing the character of Scar, and Alex Louise Armstrong as well. My favorite of them being Alex Louise Armstrong, because he's kind of what you would expect Gaston from Beauty and the Beast to be like if he were one of the good guys. Which, spoiler alert, for a movie that's been out since the 90s. Yeah, he's a character who, he's not egotistical at all, but he constantly talks about his muscles. He's a character that you would expect to see doing this a lot, or this, or this. But he's a gentle giant. He's the most humble of characters. He's even well-spoken. It's just really funny seeing that juxtaposed against the bodybuilder image. The character Envy, I really love she or he, because they never actually make that explicit. It's played by a woman character, but yeah, I've seen women play men and men play women. Across the two times I've seen both versions of this show, yeah, I still can't figure out whether Envy is a man or woman, but it is a very engaging character. It's a very manipulative character, and honestly, though I'm a bigger fan of the other series, I like Envy's portrayal in this because, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there are events later with this character that are just better done. With villains, I feel like they usually have to speak to something about the hero, either a flaw that the hero has, or they have to have something personally connected with the hero, like Luke and Vader, or even Sherlock and Moriarty, with the fact that they both were something like college professors. I mean, they were both intelligent. They both went in the same circles. They have to have some sort of connection. And Envy in this version has a lot more of a connection than he/she does in the other version. Anyway, moving on from that character, because I could talk about it this whole video. Anyway, the other character that is introduced, rather than elaborated on like Scar, is a character called Dr. Marco. He's a rather complex character, especially in this, because when you view his actions through this episode and through all the episodes you see him in, he's a very compassionate person, but the first time you see him, he is pointing what I'm guessing is a revolver. It might be something else, but just picture a handheld gun, something about this size, and he's pointing it at a 14-year-old. The main character is a 14-year-old. He's pointing it at him. There's nobody besides his younger brother, who looks older. Nobody around, no adult supervision to protect him. It's one of the things I actually like about this version of the show over the other, because while the other still had some stuff that was scary, in fact, I'd say it even went a little bit farther than this in some instances, this did something I really, really like, and that is it didn't shield you from harsh realities. Sorry. It allowed the kids to be put in danger. I really like shows like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a sadist. I don't glorify kids being in danger, but they treat us, no pun intended, with kids' gloves. I mean, kids can handle some scary crap if you give them the opportunity, and that's what I like about this. It gives kids that opportunity. And on top of that, it's a well thought out episode in relation to its themes. Its themes about war, about this guy. You see, he's a compassionate man, and you wonder, how can he be a compassionate man if he's pointing a gun at children? Well, he is a man who had to, in his own way, help in genocide. Which is some scary stuff. Yeah, this episode also introduces you to a character called Bas Grand. And the reason I didn't mention him as the 3 characters introduced in this is that he's not really developed after this point. And he, spoiler alert, dies in this episode. That's one of the things actually I like about this episode, is he kind of seems like he's gonna be a bigger player in it. Because even with Father Cornello at the very, very beginning, even though he died, in a way, he still had a bigger part to play. I mean, it was Envy imitating him, but yeah, he still had somewhat of a bigger part to play, and you think that's what's going to happen with Bas Grand, so you think they're just kind of going to repeat that trope, but no, he dies very, very briefly after he is introduced, and he's killed by one of the characters who, in actually both series, turns a new leaf eventually, Scar. Although Scar, much better done in the other series. Much, much better done. They both have a redemptive arc in both series, but it's much better handled than the other one. This one, it's... So yeah, that's about what this episode is. It delves into that theme of war. It delves into the redemption kind of Dr. Marco. Just him dealing with the harsh realities of war and trying to make up for it by helping Ed. And it introduces you also, and this will be my last thing, to some of the darker aspects of Roy Mustang. That he was heavily involved in that genocide too. And that is some scary crap from some of your main characters. Especially one that, while he's serious, he's kind of lighthearted in a way. Not quite as lighthearted as Hughes, but still pretty lighthearted. Anyway, that is all for today. Hope to see you again soon. Please subscribe, and until next time, don't be afraid to join the herd. Ya heard.